Boom shakalaka, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters around the world. It is your boy Chris Shul, aka the Esoteric Noetic, aka the Chocolate Nubian Soul Brother from Ghana, West Africa. I drop the wisdomatic truth bombs here in Australia, mate. Be sure to like the video, subscribe, click on the bell, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your momos, drop us the comments, let us know what it is. Let's get it. Alrighty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, social media world has been in an uproar lately over Leonardo DiCaprio, the world's biggest A-grade celebrity actor, dumping his girlfriend Camilla Morrone, who just turned 25. Now, Leonardo DiCaprio is 47 years of age. Well, apparently, that's a big age difference. But the reality is that in Hollywood, that is actually pretty common. It's very common for men to be dating younger women in Hollywood and women to be dating younger men or older men. It really doesn't matter. And in fact, I would argue that throughout most of history, that has been the norm. But I guess what makes this even more juicy is the fact that Leonardo DiCaprio has a reputation of dating exclusively under 25 women. And if you have a look at the history of women that he's dated publicly, at least according to this graph here, it seems to be the case. I mean, we have a look at Giselle, Barr, Blake, Erin, Tony, Kelly, Nina, Camilla, and they've all been under 25 years of age. That is rather compelling. But you know what? Here's the deal. Leonardo DiCaprio is arguably the world's most successful, high-status individual. He has the pick of the litter. He gets to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. It would make perfect sense that someone like that would choose to date the most attractive, the most desirable women. And as much as people, particularly women, I would imagine, hate to hear this, well, first of all, age is a relative term, but generally speaking, most people, once they hit a certain age, I would say most women above the age of 30 and so forth, they start to show it, unless, of course, they really maintain themselves. So, understandably, you're probably going to put your focus, your effort towards younger women if you are a guy, purely because of the eye candy. They look better. Now, when it comes to men, I would say that, yeah, that the same applies, but it is different. I would say that, one, women don't tend to be as shallow as us men, and as a result, because they're more focused on... I mean, it's funny, we use the word shallow, but it just comes down to being interested in different things, whereas guys go for beauty, for looks, predominantly. Of course, this is very relative, I'm generalizing here. I would say that the vast majority of women would be less focused on that. Don't get me wrong, a lot of women are very, very focused on the eye candy, but more focused about things such as status, things such as health, obviously being a big component, but status in terms of wealth, in terms of being well-known, and they find these things more appealing. Now, because this tends to get more and more better and better as you age, understandably, women tend to shift their interest towards older men that have more, that have done more, that have seen more, experienced more, and so forth. And men, when it comes down to it, because they're probably less interested, at least sexually, towards being with a woman just because of how successful she is, and they're more focused on attributes, assets. You know what assets I'm talking about. They care more about the physical makeup, and understandably, women tend to be looking their best when they are much younger. In fact, that's generally been the case. And what you'll find is that I'd say probably around the age of 15 to 19, women, sexually speaking, this is going to offend a lot of people. I'm not saying what's appropriate within the realms of society, but sexually speaking, they're at a point where they're at their prime when it comes to reproduction. And understandably, in history, men have looked towards women that are very fertile because they can have more sons and daughters and so forth. So these are the kind of women that men would typically go for. Now, once you get older, now people make the argument that, you know, women before 25, they're not fully developed, the brain isn't fully developed and all that kind of stuff. Look, that's neither here or there. But generally speaking, you will find that most women, once they hit above 25, the risk increases for there being complications to having children. Above 30, 35, gets more and more risky. And once you get even older, it becomes really, really risky, ladies and gentlemen. So from a biological standpoint, it's perfectly understandable that someone like Leonardo DiCaprio is, whether it's conscious or unconscious, is going to be attracted towards younger women. But you have a look at the backlash that this guy has received, and it's absolutely hilarious. This is what the internet does. So let's have a look at some of the comments here. The girl Leonardo DiCaprio will dump when he's 72 was born today. There is no phenomenon on this planet more reliable than Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with his girl by age 25. The stats are breathtaking, someone else wrote. Leonardo DiCaprio, once his girlfriend's brain finishes development. Another troll posted alongside a clip of Miley Cyrus blowing a kiss goodbye to Hannah Montana. Okay. 3 things are certain in life: death, taxes, and Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with his girlfriend before her prefrontal cortex has fully developed. One more person agreed. But there you go. Leonardo DiCaprio at the age of 47. And the guy is looking good. And the guy is, look, I mean, let's face it. As far as attraction goes, this guy is a good-looking guy. This guy has a lot of status. I mean, what woman would not want to date someone like that? And look, everyone's different. Everyone has different preferences and whatnot. But it's perfectly understandable that women would want to date someone as rich and powerful as Leonardo DiCaprio. And just speaking from my own perspective here as a guy, every guy that I know of generally is attracted towards girls that are physically attractive. Now, there are some outliers that don't like physical attraction. The more physically attractive a girl is, they're disgusted by that, and they prefer to date grannies. I don't know. There are some guys out there that find grannies very attractive. I find grannies attractive. I don't discriminate. But that being said, women typically tend to be physically more desirable when they are younger. Understandably, so guys tend to want to date anyway, younger women. Unfortunately, not all guys have the status, the ability to be able to do that. Not all guys age as gracefully as yours truly, the Chocolate Nubian, so I still look like I'm a teen, whereas I'm 69 years of age. And as a result, they end up having to date people their age. You know, it's funny, like, I'm always swiping through Tinder and having a look at, the women and so forth in different ages, and yeah, you start to see this theme where, the women that are of a higher age, they you see it, understandably, but like you really see it. I would say above 30, unless someone really trains and takes care of themselves, it's like they have to work at looking good. But when you got your age preference set to like 18 to 22, like I have it, it's like swipe, swipe, swipe. Every girl that you see is like by default physically attractive, right? And it's kind of like they have to work at being unattractive. They have to be like massively overweight. But even then, you're like, oh, she's young, she's hot. But ladies and gentlemen, Leonardo DiCaprio is basically doing what all of us guys know we would do if we were in the same situation. And many of the women, I'm sure, are frustrated and annoyed, thinking that it's somewhat inappropriate for him to be dating younger women. Because I know there are quite a few celebrities that have gotten some flack for dating younger women, but I would say, look, this is obviously a generalization, but pretty much most guys in their situation would be doing the same thing. But because there is this social stigma now around what is appropriate, there is this fiasco. And it's also interesting how things change so easily. I mean, a little over 100 years ago, you have a look at what the norm was for dating, and Leonardo DiCaprio dating someone that was 25 would have been not normal, would have been too old. Back then, not that long ago, I mean, this is in the Western world, the age of consent was 10 in parts of the world, in California even. So, and not even that long ago, back in I think this was in the 50s and 60s, you have a look at what was acceptable then. I'm not saying that's, in fact, I'm not even talking about the morality or ethics behind this thing, because that's a more nuanced discussion. When it comes down to attraction is not a choice. When it comes down to someone being able to actually make the decision to have sex and so forth, that comes down to maturity, and that's a very subjective thing. It's not definitive. The idea that age is supposed to represent that is somewhat of an amorphous idea. But the reality is that generally speaking, guys are going to be attracted towards girls that are younger, let's say younger, looking in appearance. So what Leonardo DiCaprio is doing is, once again, what most guys would do given the same situation. In any event, ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, let us know what you think in the comments below. Is Leonardo DiCaprio a creepy man, or is he just acting like a G? Until next time, remember there are 3 things that cannot remain hidden for long: the sun, the moon, and the wisdomatic truth bombs of yours truly, the chocolate Nubian soul brother, Chris Shule. Ow!
Like this notion of liberty, for example. What is liberty?
And I think that concept of the will is very important.
What the? Who says you can't build muscle on a vegan diet? What's it like being a hottie in the vegan community?
Bitcoin will not work as digital gold.
Engineering, technology, these arts of humanity, they are magic.
Everyone deserves the same chance, the same treatment, the same respect.
Peace in a world that's flooded with war. History's littered with body scar, trying to settle the score, maintaining archaic.